Growing up, your parents, your teachers, everyone around you tells you that you're special, that you're unique. And we know, unfortunately, that that's a lie. Because you're only unique once you've built your first castle. You see, that's where the unique attributes of a civilization can be found. There's unique units that you can create, and I've covered that in a different tier list. I want to talk about in this tier list, this is sort of a part one, and I want to talk about unique technologies focusing on the Castle Age, right? This is where you truly start to shine as a civilization. Now, not all civilizations in AOE2, much like life, have equal unique technologies in the Castle Age. Some have unique technologies that are extremely important and that give you a really nice power spike. Others, well, they're a bit more lackluster. In this video, we're going to go through the civilizations. I'm going to talk about what I think makes a strong, unique technology for the Castle Age specifically, and which civilizations have such strong technologies and which others are a bit lacking, right? So let's go out there and get after it. All right. So I'm your boy, right? Your boy right here, Jimmy James 59. And let's go ahead and jump into what I think the qualities that you're going to want to look for in Castle Age unique technologies. The way I like to do this is I like to ask a few questions, right? First question I tend to ask is that, does it help you win games, right? I take something of a moneyball approach to a lot of this and think, what kind of value am I getting? And really, is this helping me win games? Because at the end of the day, that's what you want to do. You want to win games. Does the tech help you do that or not? That's the first question. The second question really comes down to, well, when does it help you win games? Is it only helping you achieve victory late? Is it helping you quite a lot, say, as soon as it's researched, right? Those kind of things, right? A very strong Castle Age unique technology is going to give you a good power spike immediately. Now, the third question that I tend to think about is value. You might think about this as affordability, but value is something like affordability and performance combined, right? And so, if something has a low cost, but it's not getting you quite as much performance improvement, well, it still might be getting you decent value. And if something is expensive but it's giving you a lot of performance output, again, that might be worth it, right? The kind of technologies that are not worth it are ones that cost a lot and they're not really contributing very solidly to you achieving victory. Now, the last part here I'll say is I want to think about, is the technology, do I classify it as sort of a must research? These are the technologies that when you're playing this civ, you really need to get because they're very important for an army composition or a particular strategy you want to go for. I will say that must research technologies, that doesn't necessarily make them good, it just makes them necessary. And I will make that distinction with a few civs. Sometimes I think it gives you a big power spike, sometimes it's just because there's something about the civ that already is kind of a burden, and this Castle Age technology alleviates that burden. So that being said, let's go ahead and we're going to jump into the tier list. We have it right up. I've got my notes. Let's do this thing. So let's start off with the Aztecs. The Aztecs' unique technology at Lattle is giving your skirmishers +1 damage and +1 range. I think this is A tier. The reason I think it's A tier is because Aztecs have some weaknesses. This helps you cover for them, which kind of to me sounds more like a B tier right there because you're missing thumb ring and you miss the lost armor. But the reason I think it's so strong is that having that damage and range gives you some nice DPS output, and it really helps you deal with archer civilizations. And oftentimes with Aztecs, you find yourself in situations where you might want to play champions or jaguar warriors. Your eagles, right, do have decent pierce armor, but they're still only having I think it's 60 HP. So you got to think about that with this civ. Having top flight skirmishers really enables you to get to some good army compositions, right? You go eagles, they go champions, so you go champions, they go archers. You have really good skirmishers that have the damage and the range to support that army. And that's one of the things that I think makes Aztecs a really dangerous civilization, because it feels like they really don't have that bad of a matchup because they cover their bases so well, and Atlatl is an important tech to do that. Next up, we have the Bengalis with the Pikes technology. I think that this is a really tricky one. It's somewhere between B and C tier. I think I want to put it in the C tier because it's going to give your Rotha unique unit and your elephant units an increased attack rate. This is good, but you got to remember with this civilization that you're missing thumb ring already, and so you're basically getting the firing rate advantage, but you're not getting the accuracy advantage, and that's pretty important for elephant archers, and I think it's decently important for the Rotha as well. So it's good. Noteworthy as well that I think that this technology also increases the melee attack speed of the Rotha, and this is one of these must-research technologies that I think you need to get with Bengalis, but you really only need to get it because you're kind of reliant on Rotha and elephants. You don't have a lot in your tech tree otherwise, and I don't think it's giving you a major power spike. It's kind of just that your units really aren't that strong without it. So that's something you got to think about, and so to me, that really just gets them in the C tier. Now, next up, we're going to take a look at the Berbers. And Berbers, I like them in the B tier. The Casper technology increases the work rate of your and your allies' castles. I think it's great on maps like Nomad and even Arena, where you have a lot of unique units out in the field. I think it's a bit less useful on Arabia, where you tend to see less things like castle drops. You tend to see more crossbow knight play, though it is good for getting trebuchet production in the late game and winning some of those treb wars. So I think altogether, that for me puts it more into the B tier. Okay, next up we have the Bohemians, and I think that they're unique tech. I think it's Faudenberg tactics, I think we call it. It's going to increase the movement speed of your gunpowder units. I think it's nice. I don't think it's winning you any games, but it just helps your rather immobile army be a little bit more mobile. It's still kind of a slow army, so again, you're going to want to get it if you're playing into most Bohemian units, but I don't think it's one of those techs that is propelling you to a major victory. Okay, next up we have the Britons. Britons have the yeoman tech, +1 range to foot archers, +2 attack to towers. I think this is B tier. Range is really powerful in the game, and getting more extra range when you're already pretty long range archers seems awesome. My only issue with this tech is the really obscene wood cost. It's very expensive. I think it's something like 750 wood, 450 gold. This is one of these technologies that it's good, but I never feel like I'm really getting the value from it because you probably don't have a ton of towers anyways, so you're really just getting extra range in your archers in most cases. And it's just kind of unaffordable in Castle Age, to be honest, because it's so much wood, and it's still a lot of gold as well. So I think this is more of a B tier. Good, but hard to get into. All right, next up we have the Bulgarians, and Bulgarians have the Stirrups technology, plus 33% attack speed for cavalry. This to me is an easy S tier, right? This is basically in an instant giving you some of the strongest knights in Castle Age and even cavaliers in early Castle Age. It's relatively inexpensive. It's 400 food, 200 gold, so it's not burning up your gold reservoirs to get it. It's going to help your iconic, your unique unit, attack a lot faster, and that's a unit that attacks pretty slow otherwise. And it's also helping your hussars get a lot of DPS. So if you switch from knights to hussars, I think you have top 5 hussars in the game. It opens up the possibility of having a really strong heavy cav archer hussar play, doing lots of raiding. This technology is helping you win games late. It's helping you win games upon getting it. It's affordable. It really checks every box to be an S tier technology. Now, if we take a look at the Burgundians, Burgundian vineyards, your farms produce gold. This sounds pretty OP, actually. I think it's more of an A tier. I think it's really strong because you do make a lot of farms with Burgundians, and so you basically can get, it's basically, I think at the end, kind of having like a couple of relics, and then if you have some actual relics in your monastery, you can be producing a lot of gold to make paladins and hand cannoneers late. The only reason it isn't S tier here is because of the timing. A lot of games end in early Imperial Age or even late Castle Age, so if you research it, actually, you might not have enough time for it to really pay for itself, right? The benefit isn't immediate here. It's really helping you in extended late games. It is very strong, but I think that does limit its utility. We got to keep it in the A tier. Okay, next up we have the Burmese with the Howdah technology. +1 melee and pierce armor. I gotta put this in the C tier, I think. This was recently nerfed. Still kind of, it was just part of it was incorporated into a civ bonus, so the tech was nerfed, but practically speaking, it hasn't been. The extra pierce armor is nice for tanking castle and TC fire, but you're still vulnerable to the usual suspects. Those were not major threats to Burmese anyways. You know, you're still going to have to worry about conversions. You're still going to have to worry about halberdiers, so I don't think it's changing the game all that much for you. Next up is the Byzantines with Greek fire. Now, +1 ranging your fire ships. This is a D tier technology. There's actually a lot of arguments out there that it might not even work, right? In fact, having the extra range may make your fire ships less accurate and kind of offset your, offset the advantage you're getting. I don't really have never really gotten the weeds on that. I just know that the technology is not doing that much anyways. You have to get so close already that, you know, it's just not changing your game at all, and it just, I don't think it's really worth researching in almost any situation. I don't have an F tier for this tier list because every technology, I guess, is kind of doing something. I think very few are actually undermining you, though this one has been alleged to actually possibly undermine you. I just don't know if that's still the case, and it's contested, so we're just going to keep it D tier. Okay, next up is the Celts. I think also is D tier strongholds. Towers and castles attack faster. The problem is you miss Bracer, so I think this technology gets kind of nerfed. If for some reason you do have a lot of towers in your base, I think it can help. But again, you miss Bracer, so I don't think it's that strong. Next up we have the Chinese. Great Wall, giving your towers and walls more HP. I think this is a nice solid B tier tech. It's not... It has its situations, stonewalling the sides of your base, for instance, or just walling the sides of your base in general to defend against light cavalry raids is really nice. Being able to take map control with towers in the late game, that helps out a lot too, so I quite like it. I do think that it's pretty situational, I think, to the late game in most cases. And the fact that it costs stone is kind of disappointing because the units it's helping also cost stone, and stone is a fairly scarce resource, so the fact that you have to spend a pretty decent chunk of it to get the technology and you're already making a castle anyways, you're just probably not going to have a ton of stone left over in a lot of cases. And so if you don't, you're not really getting the value out of this tech. Solid B tier. Alright, next we have the Cumans. Steppe husbandry, increasing the work rate of... or rather the training speed, I should say, of scouts, steppes, and cavalry archers. That to me, it's an S tier for the hussar spam alone. You can just crank out scouts with this civilization, and it's really strong. It can be strong in early Castle Age. It can be strong during your transitions, especially if you're trying to go for like a Kipchak light cap combination. It's really good and can win you games, and it is surprisingly affordable, costing just 200 food and 300 wood. You're going to be able to get to this really easy. That's checking all the boxes for me. I'm very comfortable putting it into the S tier. Next up with Dravidians and Medical Core, right? This is going to allow your elephants to regenerate HP. I think regeneration techs are always a little overrated. I think I got to put it into the C tier. As with most everything with Dravidians, it feels kind of underwhelming. Elephant archers aren't played a ton, and this technically, I think, also affects your battle elephants as well. So here's the problem. Dravidians lack... let me back up. For an HP regeneration bonus to really be helping you out, you need to be able to disengage the unit from battle to take the time to heal. But when you lack husbandry, like Dravidian elephants do, it's really hard to disengage from battle because you're already kind of slow. So I think it's hard to get the value out of this tech. Now, if you can disengage a little bit, I think it can be really valuable. And because the Civ lacks bloodlines, this is something that option. It's basically one of the only things that really makes Goths unique. You see it in almost every game. Being able to make Huskarls and barracks, which is what that technology gives you, allows you to take advantage of the fact that your barracks work faster. It really is a must research, and it is giving you, it's a must research technology that's really opening up your strategy and making sure that you're able to get to that Goth Huskarl spam. So, yeah, I think I gotta put it in the S tier. Now, Gurjaras with Kshatriya, right? Reducing your military unit food cost by 25%. I'll put that in the A tier. I think it's really, really good. You're making a lot of food costing units with Gurjaras. My only gripe is that it's very expensive on gold. The gold cost is going to be 400. That's a lot. It's basically half of what you would need in terms of gold to click up to Imperial Age. And I think that this bonus is really taking its strongest effect in late game when you're overwhelming your opponent with cheap units. It's very strong, but again, the price tag is just really expensive, not quite affordable enough, in my view. All right, next up with the Hindustanis, Grand Trunk Road. Going to increase your gold income by 10%, all your sources. So I'll put this in B tier. I think it's pretty nice. If you have some relics, it gives you a little bit more relic gold. If you're trading in team games, you're going to get a little bit more gold, so that's nice as well. Basically, I think it's just helping you sustain production, right? That does help you win some games. It's not giving you a major performance advantage. It's just helping you keep up production a little bit better, or maybe afford some more expensive upgrades a little bit easier. That does matter, and I think that's enough to put them in the B tier. Now, if we move on to the Huns, I'll also put Huns in the B tier. The Marauders technology in Castle Age allows you to make Tarkans at your stables. Again, you can kind of compare this with the Goths, but now the reason the Goths are S tier and Marauders takes you all the way down to B tier is because the Tarkan play with Huns is pretty situational. You really only see it when you're up against strong archer civs, and oftentimes actually when you're kind of behind and trying to make a comeback. With Huns, you usually want to be playing Cav Archer Hussar, and sometimes even cavaliers, which are stronger. Cavaliers and or paladin, right, which are stronger than Tarkans. So the Tarkan's going to be a pretty situational play, I think. It is really good because it synergizes with the Huns' stable bonus working faster. Again, this reminds you of Goths. But it's not a must-research tech in any situation like Goth Anarchy. And I just don't think it's opening up your strategy profile to the same extent that Anarchy does with Goths. It's good. It's sometimes something you're going to do. If you're going to be making Tarkans, definitely get it. But it's just a bit situational, I think. Right? And Tarkans are really only a strong unit, I think, in Imperial Age. So you're probably not really getting a lot of benefit out of this in Castle Age, whereas Huskarls, because of all their bonus damage they're doing, I think they're a strong unit in Castle Age. Okay. Incas, Andean Sling. It reduces the minimum range on skirmishers and slingers. If you already got units up in your grill, I think you got bigger problems. I think the technology is probably best helping the fact that the units aren't going to like move around or try to get away, and they can just focus on firing. But I don't know, I just don't think it's that strong. But if you say with Italians, ooh, this is a good technology, I think. I think it's A tier, but it might be S tier. So the thing with this tech is that, first of all, it doesn't cost that much. I think it's about 300 food, 150 gold, so very cheap. It gives you a lot of nice value. It's going to help you win archer fights because you're getting +1 melee, +1 pierce armor. That helps you, as soon as you get it. It helps you late when you're dealing with other Arbalest civs. It also helps your condottieri raid because they're getting that armor upgrade too. And condottieri are a common unit for a quick power spike that Italians can go for. I think the reason I got to keep it into A tier is because it might help you win fights against other archers. It's not going to help you if you're up against knights or you're dealing with a lot of skirmishers. I mean, it'll help you a little bit with skirms, but it usually just prolongs the fight. You still lose that. So I think it has a really nice value though, and does help you win a lot of games. Maybe not a lot of games, but I think it can help you win in the mid to late game. And it can help you in a variety of ways. That to me seems good enough for A tier. Next up with Japanese and Yasama. Allowing your towers to shoot more arrows. I think this is B tier, but I think it's high B tier. Towers are a pretty good follow-up with Japanese. They give you really nice DPS to help you control trade lines. One of the few civilizations that, when you go keeps, because you don't have bombard towers, you actually still feel pretty good about it, and it's also very affordable. So I think that's a good solid B tier tech. Probably, if there's a B plus tier, I think it would go in there. Khmer, Tusk Swords, I give it a C tier. My only issue with this tech is just that the extra damage is nice, but you're already doing a lot of damage. It's a very expensive tech on the gold front, right? It's 300 wood, 450 gold. Yikes. Elephants are already pretty expensive. I don't know. I think it can help some with DPS, and that's good, but you're just taking something the unit already does good and making it do very good, so I don't think it's really changing the game. Okay, let's go to Koreans. The Yupsong technology. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, but that's okay. Giving your towers, your watchtower line, extra range. I think this is good. Again, towers, it's kind of like Yasama. I think it's even the same cost as Yasama, so it's pretty affordable. Helping you take that map control with those watchtowers, and they're actually able to hit bombard cannons, which is nice. I think it's a good solid tech. I'm just not sure. I think if you're playing Arbalest, this is where you probably see this most of all. If you're playing something like War Wagons, you're going to be going castles anyway, so you might not see it. So that to me seems B tier. It's good. I'm just not sure it helps you in the same variety of situations that it might. So Yeah. Probably high B tier, though. Maybe even pushing A tier. Lithuanians, hill forts. I put that C tier. I think it's great for fending off Castle Age pushes, but in Imperial Age, you're typically being sieged by units like bombard cannons and trebuchets, and they just have so much range. I don't think it's helping you. I just don't think it's helping you. And if you're being pushed with siege rams, who cares about the extra range? They tank so much arrow fire anyways. So I don't often see it researched. I think the situational value is very, very limited, and it's also probably not winning any games either. So C tier seems good. Corvinian army taking off the gold cost of the Magyar Hussar. I gotta put this at A tier, but I also gotta say that I just hate this technology. I wish I've talked about this in another video, but I think that it should just be changed, and the Magyar Hussar should just be free of gold to begin with. But it's really important for the Magyars, and it allows you to do their Hussar spam. And Magyar Hussars, if you can get to them, they're really, really strong. The reason it's not S tier for me is because I don't think it's changing your strategy a whole lot, because you already have cheap Hussars, so you can just go that. So, Magyar Hussars are great. They have a really nice anti-siege bonus, so they're definitely a better unit than Hussars. But it's just kind of hard to get to the Magyar Hussar, and so you might wind up finding yourself in a situation where you don't get to it, and you are reliant more on regular Hussars. So that to me, I think, keeps out of the S tier. Malay, Malay, right? Thessalocracy, allowing your docks to become harbors and shoot arrows. It's really nice on water. I think it's especially nice in water maps where you have a lot of choke points. It's not really helping you on water maps where there's a lot of open sea, because I think your harbors just tend to get bombarded. So, probably A tier in sort of choke pointy maps, but maybe C tier where there's a lot of open sea. Malayans, the Tigway technology, yeah. I barely see this researched. By Castle Age, most units are outranging the TC that are sieging them. And you miss Bracer, so, I just don't think it matters that much, right? You're still not getting a lot of, in Imperial Age, you're not getting a lot of high damage anyways from your town centers missing Bracer, so it's not a tech I care about very much. Mayans, the Hulche Javelineers, again, mispronouncing things. Giving you an extra spear that gets fired. I kind of like this as a B tier technology here. When I compare it to something like Atlatl, Atlatl is covering some weaknesses of the Aztecs, and it's really boosting your range and your damage, I think. With the Mayans, you're boosting your damage a bit, but the thing is, it doesn't really cover your weaknesses, because you're not making a lot of infantry that's going to be vulnerable to archers anyways. And with Aztecs, you might want to do that. Right? With Mayans, you're usually going for double gold comps like Arbalist or Plumed Archers, and then Eldorado Eagles. And I just don't think Skirmishers are helping out your composition. I do think that situationally they have a lot of usage actually for taking out units that Skirmishers really struggle with, so they're very good against siege rams, actually, which is nice if you're being pushed by siege rams. It helps against units like Champions and Hussars. I still don't think it's enough DPS to really swing the fight your way, even though it is an improvement. I just think it's situational, a little too expensive. It's not bad. I think it's enough for B tier, but I wouldn't go beyond that. I think Atlatl is a better tech for the Aztecs. Mongols, look, man. The Mongols Castle Age tech, I don't even remember what it's called. I just know that, your destroyed houses don't take your population back down. You probably have so many houses built, you don't even have to worry about it, just because it's so important for walling your base and such. So, not a big deal. Persians, ooh, Commanderin. Right, removes the gold cost of your crossbows, converts some of that into wood. I think you're Crossbows cost 65 wood, 60 or 65. Forget exactly which one. This is a tech that was probably kind of OP when it first came out. It got some cost changes, and it increased the wood that it would cost to make what we call trash bows. So I think the technology is a decent place. I think it might be even underutilized. You know, you're getting a lot more DPS out in the field because it shoots twice as fast than a skirmisher. And you got to remember, your skirmishers are also going to miss bracer like your crossbows. So you're getting good DPS with this unit, and especially you get thumb ring, so that's going to increase the firing rate. Your skirmishers, thumb ring won't increase the firing rate. And I just think it gives you some really decent compositions. I think it's great to pair with your heavy cavalry. I think hussars plus trash bow might be the most cost-effective army in late game that can actually win. So if you're really strapped for resources, you have a great trash army. It's probably the best trash army that you can have for trash wars. It's just a really nice unit. I think to me what keeps it out of the A tier is that trash bows cost so much wood that I actually think it's hard to mass them at first because you need a ton of lumberjacks. And so I think that you really start to feel the power of this tech once you get into like early Imperial Age. It's not usually something you research and it's like, okay, just, spam a million crossbows, because you just don't have the wood on hand to do that usually. Because you got to get the ranges up too to do that as well, right? So solid A tier technology. Poles, easy S tier. Taking the Slacha privileges, it gives you knights that cost 60 food and only 30 gold. I think it's nuts. I think it is probably OP. It's pretty expensive, but when you think about it, basically you make up for the cost of it, I think, after you make like 7 knights. So it pays for itself very, very quickly. I'd kind of like to see this technology maybe not that much of a gold discount. I think if the knights were even just like 60 food, like 40 gold, that would be a lot. Now, I think that would be very fair. 30 gold, it's just like, these are basically champions. But they're knights and cavaliers. I mean, yeah, they're low quality. They're kind of medium cavalry, honestly. But really, really strong tech. Really strong technology. Portuguese, right? Look at the Carrick's technology. Extra melee pierce armor on your ships. B tier. This is a case of the rich getting richer. Your ships already have a lot of HP. You're greater water anyways. They're discounted. I think it can help swing fights in your favor. But I also don't think it's the kind of thing that it's probably worth making a castle just to get. And I don't think it's a must research tech, honestly. A little expensive. I'd almost rather put that into just making more units. So decent, but it's giving you a decent advantage, but not a major one. Saracens, zealotry. Ooh, zealotry. Interesting. So this is a good tech. I'll put it in the B tier. You're getting 20 extra HP on your camels, which is stacking on top of already having 10 HP as a civ bonus. My main issue is really with the expense of it. It's very, very expensive technology to research. It's like 500 food, 450 gold. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of camels that you can make otherwise. And, you're still going to die pretty hard to the usual suspects, like crossbows, halbs. It does give you a bit more staying power. But again, you have to sacrifice some units to get there because it costs so much food and gold. And I think that actually it actually might hurt your civilization more than it helps in Castle Age when you don't have a big economy. So you might be waiting to get it late, even though you can get it in Castle Age. I don't know. I just think it's just not quite as good as it sounds. So moving on, Sicilians, First Crusade. Oh, man, how's this not S tier? You're getting 35 units at a really, really good discount. It's also, and people kind of forget this, it makes your units more difficult to convert, so that's nice. I think to me the timing of the tech is really what makes it S tier or A tier. If you get it in Castle Age, I don't think sergeants are that strong there. I think that makes it more of an A tier tech. But when you have elite sergeants in Imperial Age, that can be a really nice closeout unit, and you're just getting so many, and they take 50% less bonus damage, so if somebody goes hand cannoneers against you, you're really hurting their bonus potential. I just think you put it all together. I think this is probably, honestly, closer to an A tier technology, but I just think it does so much for the Civ, and it's something you can really boom into. Elite sergeants are a pretty strong unit late. They're not a bad unit even in Castle Age, but I just think that that's where it really becomes S tier. But I think that's enough to make it an S tier. It's expensive, but you get a lot of value out of it. Next up is the Slavs. This is a new technology for them, right? It takes, I think, about 40% of the stone cost and converts it into wood. I think this is great for team games. I think it's A tier, easy, maybe even S tier for team games. It's reasonably affordable. I'm actually going to do a video about this technology with some gameplay, so stay tuned for that to come out probably over the next week. I think the issue comes for me why I don't give it A tier and I have to put it onto B tiers for 1v1s. Boyars are still countered by the usual suspects. Halbs, especially. And I think that because your castles miss bracer anyways, I'm just not quite sure how much it's helping, because it's harder. Boyars are not as useful in 1v1s. I think Boyars could be a really strong team game unit. I think it remains to be seen. I think there's a lot of different ways that it could probably still go wrong. But, having lots of castles up to protect trade is really nice as well in team games. So, yeah, I like it. I think B tier, maybe even high B tier, this one goes. Spanish, monks converting faster. I'll put it in C tier. I think there's a lot of utility for it on Arena, where monk rushing is really common. I think on some other maps, though, by the time you get it, monks are probably going a little out of style, so that's tough. Tatars, silk armor, easy S tier. One of the best Castle Age techs in the game. It's a bit expensive, but it's a great investment. Think about what it does. It basically allows you to have about top 3 Hussar, right? Maybe even the best Hussar. It makes Step Lancers playable late because they have 6 Pierce armor. And it gives you probably top 3 CA, I think. There's some argument probably that Magyars and Turks would have on that, but still very strong CA. And you're doing that all with one technology. So it's opening up a lot of different strategies. It's helping you in Castle Age because your Cav Archers are going to get that upgrade as well, and so giving you really tanky Cav Archers, and then you get free Parthian tactics anyway as soon as you get up. So even early Imperial Age, it's a great bump. I think it's just really strong technology, honestly, and it's definitely one that you're going to want to get with Tatars. Ironclad with Teutons. I think this is more of a D tier, honestly. I'd rank it higher if Teutons had access to Siege Ram, but they don't. And if you have melee units around your onagers and bombard cannons, again, it's one of these situations that, it's not that they're impervious to things. I just think you're already in a bad situation if that's happening. And again, Siege Rams are really the siege unit I think that's meant to most be exposed to melee attacks, and so that's why I think if the Teutons had it, I'd probably make this more of like a C, maybe possibly even B tier, depending how strong we'd see that being, because siege ram pushes are really strong, but with Teutons you're really not getting that because you only get Cav Rams, so I think to me that really hurts the tech. Turks with Sipahi. So they're B or an A tier. I'm gonna put in the A tier here for a second. And I think it's comparable. with Zealotry from Saracens, but I'll tell you why I think this goes in the A tier. There's a few reasons. When it comes to cav archers, you need a big mass of them to be effective, and having 28 more HP really, really helps you with that. Right? Keep the units alive. It's really affordable, 350 food, 150 gold, so it's not a major investment, and you're really getting a solid boost out of it. I do think that usually with cav archers, increasing their damage or range is probably more effective. But again, you're trying to keep that CA mass. If you get a big mass of CA, there's not a lot that opponents can do about that, and that's helping you get there. And with Turks missing trash units, helping you keep your gold units alive is really, really important. And so it's really helping the Turks out a lot, actually. So that to me is enough to put it into A tier. Vietnamese. Their unique tech, Shatras, 100 more HP for battle elephants. I mean, elephants already have a lot of HP, but plus 100 is a lot. I think this is a really good tech now. It used to be only 50 HP. That to me was very C tier. I think this is kind of B tier. Here's my problem with it. Elephant's biggest weakness are monks. And so if somebody converts one of these guys, now your enemy has a much stronger unit. And that's pretty rough. I think it's a good tech, but I still think that the usual counters are still going to be really strong. I think this probably does help you out decently with halbs, though. But monks are still just going to be such a problem for you. So that's worth knowing. But it is a really good tech, right? Probably higher on B tier, maybe pushing A tier, but I still don't think it's quite there yet. Okay, last we have the Vikings. Vikings Chieftains, I think, has to go into the B tier. It's strong. It really helps your pikes make up for not having the halberdier upgrade. It makes your berserk champions very strong versus heavy cavalry, and so you're already strong against infantry there. So, if you can just deal with archers, you have a really nice combo. Here's the problem. The first problem is that cavalry units just cannot take fights against your infantry. They can, outrun them and then try to come up with a counter. So that's a problem. The bigger problem is that it is insanely expensive. It's like 700 food and 500 gold. That's nuts. That's a base. That's you could almost afford Imperial Age with that. I don't know. I just think it's difficult to get to because of the cost. And even then, if the cavalry doesn't fight you, or you're not up against a cav civ, it's not getting value. So that's a problem. All right, so that's the tier list, guys. As you can see, right, we have a lot in B tier. It's pretty well distributed, I think. The S tier is pretty rarefied air. I think the only things I'd question in this so far, I kind of like where everything's at. I do think that Japanese and Koreans, Yasama and Yupsong, I do think that I could see those being A tier. I like the symmetry of this altogether, I gotta say, so I'm not gonna move them. And I think that towers are good, but they're not quite as strong as actual units. I'd rather have military units be incorporated a bit more with bonuses. I think that gives you a bit more of a power spike, but it's still pretty decent. They're still really strong, but I like where they are. Now, what do you like? If you have your own thoughts, right? You agree, you disagree, definitely leave that in the comments below. And hey, if you like this video, right, definitely leave this video a like, drop a comment, right? Let me know what you thought. And if you're excited about part 2, which is coming next week when I look at the Imperial Age unique technologies, highly recommend you follow the channel so that way you can click that notification bell and get notified when that video comes out. With that being said, right, I'm going to end this tier list. I'm Jimmy James 59, and hey, I'll see you guys out there on the ladder. Peace.